Welcome again, everyone. Now I'm handling or tackling the situation of changing the subject of the formula. Once again, this is a promotional video to for you to be able to see if this platform that I was highlighting here is working well for you. If it is working well for you, then you'll contact me and then you'll have more videos and we keep on doing more work. So the promotion that I'm going to do, basically, I'm going to try and bring you up to speed with how to change the subject of the formula. So basically, what do we mean by the subject of the formula? When we are talking about the subject of the formula, in essence, we are basically saying that is what becomes the head of the formula. So let's start by explaining what a formula is. So when we are talking about a formula is anything like y equal ax squared plus bx plus c, whereby we have a head on this side and then we have some other terms on the other side. So the one which becomes the head, we refer to it as the subject. So in this case, our subject is y. So when we are saying it's a subject, then it must be the head of the formula. Or alternatively, you can understand it by saying it should stand alone on one side of the formula with nothing else next to it. Just like lo y emeyedwa la. It has to be y and only y. Not 2y, not y over 2, not xy, nothing. Y only. So it has to stand alone on one side of the formula with nothing next to it. Then when it is like that, it means it is the subject of the formula. So the subject of the formula is about it standing alone on one side of the equation. It can be the left-hand side, it can be the right-hand side, but it has to stand alone. Now, once you understand what the subject of the formula is, then how do you make a variable the subject of the formula? There is very simple rule, one simple rule. What you do on the left-hand side should also be done on the right-hand side. Whatever you do, you want to make it the subject, you want to make it stand alone, you want to make it the head of the formula. But if it is not like the head of the formula, then you can do a lot of things to make it the head of the formula. But whatever that you do on the left-hand side, also do it on the right-hand side. So if you have subtracted 5 on the left-hand side, subtract 5 on the right-hand side. If you have added 5 on the right-hand side, add 5 on the left-hand side. If you have divided by 18, you have to divide by 18 even on the other hand. So what you do on the left, you should also do on the right. Some books or some instructors will say to you, basically, we just use the equal sign and change operation whenever we are crossing it. It's basically one and the same thing, depending on how you would like to understand it. But another way of looking at it is to understand the reverse operations and then understand that every time you are taking an operation across the equal sign, then that operation has to change into its reverse. So you have to understand the reverse operations. Which operation is the reverse of what and how do we go about that? To give a few examples of these operations, the first 4 should be easier to understand. The reverse of addition is subtraction, which means if something was being added this side and you want to take it to the other side of the equation, then you have to subtract it. The reverse of multiplication is division, which means if it was multiplying and you are crossing it to the equal sign, then it will divide on the other side. Or alternatively, if it was multiplying, divide on both sides of the equal sign, then that is basically the rules that you apply when you are changing the subject of the formula. And then if you are having sets, then you have to undo sets by exponents and vice versa. If you're having exponents, you have to do them by sets. Sets and exponents, I'm talking about things like squaring and taking the square root. So if an operation was squaring this side and you want to undo the squaring, you undo the squaring by taking the square root. Or the reverse of squaring is taking the square root. Same thing happens when you're talking about cubing and taking the cube root, etc., etc. So basically, those are the steps that you should apply when you are changing the subject of the formula. Now that you understand this, Let's take some example to see what I was talking about. Please note, there is some basic algebra that I'll need you to have in order to do stuff like this. For example, you should be able to collect like terms, something like that. You should be able to collect like terms. So now we are trying to make x the subject of the formula in this situation. If you look clearly, you will see that we have x on this side and we have x on that side. So we want this variable to stand alone on one side, not on both sides. So they are saying make x the subject in this case, which means we have x here, we have x here. We cannot have a subject that is appearing more than once. So which means this and this has to come together. You should be able to combine them. Now, how do we go about it? I say to you, what you do on the left should also be done on the right. If we look clearly, we can see that we have 2x there. We also have 5x there. Then these 2x and 5x, they are similar, so we should bring them on one side. Now, this 2x here was being added to a, which means if now we want to undo it, we have to subtract 2x on both sides of the equation. Subtract 2x. I subtract 2x on the right. I also subtract 2x on the left. What you do on the left should also be done on the right. So in this case, because I wanted to take this 2x to this side, so I have to subtract it. Now this equation with the minus 2x, normally this left hand side with the minus 2x will look like 5x plus 3 minus 2x is equal to a plus 2x minus 2x. That is how it will look like when you now subtract 2x on both sides of the equation. Please note, I subtracted 2x on both sides of the equation. Then, once you understand that, then you have to collect some like terms here. 2x minus 2x, that is going to be 0. 2 apples minus 2 apples, no apple left. 2 bananas minus 2 bananas, no banana left. So 2x minus 2x, 0. The thing goes away. 5x minus 2x, you can't just say it's 0. No, they are not the same. 5 apples minus 2 apples will leave you with 3 apples. So 5 bananas minus 2 bananas, you'll have 3 bananas left. So 5x minus 2x, 5 minus 2 is supposed to give us 3x. Whatever the value of x, but it's supposed to be 3x. Then this 3 is still there. We haven't done anything to it. So plus 3, this is supposed to be equal to a. Now we are getting closer. Our x is now closer to being standing alone. So if it is now closer to standing alone, it means we need to remove the other things that are next to x. We have this 3, we have this 3 as well. So first, let's take this one to the other side of the equal sign. So since we are adding 3 here, and I want to undo the addition of 3, we are adding 3, I want to undo this addition, I have to undo it by subtraction. The reverse of addition is subtraction, which means I'm going to have 3x plus 3 minus 3 is equal to a minus 3. I have subtracted 3 on this side, I have subtracted 3 on the other side. That is what we mean when we say what you do on the left, you should also do on the right. Then 3 minus 3, 0, such that I'm left with 3x is equal to a minus 3. Still, we need it to stand alone on one side of the equation. We need it to stand alone on one side of the equation. If you look at it carefully here, you'll see that we are closer to having x standing alone, but there is this 3 that is still multiplying the x. So we need to undo the multiplication that is taking place here. So if there is multiplication taking place here, how do we undo this multiplication? We will undo this multiplication by division. The opposite of multiplication is division, which means we have to divide by 3 and divide by 3. Now, I said to you, what you do on the left hand side should also be done on the right hand side. This is the mistake that most students often do. I have divided by 3 here, and then on the right hand side I was having 2 terms, a minus 3. It wasn't a single term, it was 2 terms, a minus 3. If it is 2 terms, it means I have to divide all of them, not just one. I have to divide all of them, so the division line has to cut across all of them. And please understand that the division going across all of them, it means this 3 is dividing the a, it means this 3 is also dividing that 3 there. So understand that. Then we have 3 cancelling 3, such that we are left with x equal a minus 3 over 3. Now once it is like this, x is standing alone on one side of the equation and nothing else is attached to it, everything is on the other side, then we say x is our subject of the formula in this case. So basically that's how you go about changing the subject of the formula. We can have a lot of other examples, but if you want more, then you will have to contact me. This is the promotional video that I think should be enough for you to make an informed decision whether this platform is really working for you or it isn't. So you can now refer to your books. There will be some examples that have been done on your books depending which book you are using. There should be some examples that have been done on the book, and then there should be some classworks and homeworks still in that book that you are using. So here's how we do. Understand the concept that I've tried to explain. Do the homeworks or try to follow the examples in whatever book that you are using. Then start doing the homeworks and the exercises in your book. When you encounter a problem, take a snapshot of what you are doing, send it to me via WhatsApp, attach an audio to it outlining your problem so that I can get it from the horse's mouth itself. Then once I know what your problem is, and then I take a look at the snapshot of what you were doing, what you have written, then I will try to assist you and attach an audio to you, send it to you, then outlining how you were supposed to go about. I think that's all for today from Greenlight Academy. So please make an informed decision whether this platform is working for you. If it is working for you, contact me on 76354912. That's Pilar Fortune Dlamini from Greenlight Academy. So for today, siyabonga bekunene.